most horror films, we start out thinking everything's kind of fine.
Yeah.
And then there are these like little hints dropped. They're like just like little hints of horror. And it's just like, oh, that's not right.
Little seed planted.
Yeah. And I think the first one is when we find out about Mima's room.
Yeah. Yeah. Mima's room is this, I guess back then they didn't have a name for it, but it's like a blog about Mima's life. And she's like, wait, what? What's Mima's room?
She didn't write it.
She had no idea that it was going on. And so that's kind of like, oh, okay. And then when she logs in and she's actually reading it, it's all of the details of her life down to which foot she steps off of the train with.
Which brand of milk she buys.
Yeah, which is so specific.
Fish food she buys for her little neon fish.
Well, it's like, I don't even know what brand of milk I buy or like what foot I step off of anything with. But the specificity of the blog is what's really creepy. And she's like reading it at the beginning and she's kind of like, this is funny. This is great.
She's like, oh my God, they really know me.
Yeah. And then when it gets to the specificity of like, I stepped off the train with my left foot, but I always usually step off with my right, which is why I'm having a bad day today. That's when she starts to be like, wait, what the hell is this? And it's so, I think that most people would have that kind of reaction, especially if you're a pop idol and you do have fans that keep track of, they've read every interview that you've ever done or they've seen you around and they are like your super fans. But then when it gets to those like incredibly minute details where you're like, oh my God, who's doing this? Because it's not me.
And you kind of have to think about the fact that when this was being made, this is kind of the dawn of the internet era.
Yeah.
This is super, super early. And apparently Satoshi Kon was kind of dealing with learning the internet at the time and it becoming a part of life. This whole idea of having this like message board or blog or homepage was not in the novel at all.
Okay.
So this is something that specifically Satoshi Kon brought into this, which is great.
Absolutely.
And super, super creepy. Especially because there's this implication that maybe she's always being watched and like, you can see into her room or somebody's looking into her room. So there's this very like voyeuristic thing. And it sets up this idea that as a pop idol, as a B pop idol, you crave attention, you crave the gaze, and then it's watching that gaze become dangerous and watching it become something that you really don't want. And, I was telling Joe while we were watching it that this is possibly the most unrealistic thing about this film is watching her mentor / manager, who's much older than her, teach her how to use the internet. Yeah. It's like, since when has an older person taught a younger person how to use the internet?
Yeah, the explanation is just very, it's so funny to see. And they're using like Netscape browser on it, which was, back then it was like the most popular web browsing tool. And then it just like died a slow, horrible death. But back to what you were saying about, being watched, after she starts to kind of panic about the details that are on Mima's room, she like stands up and then you have her like run to her balcony and it zooms out and she's just kind of like looking around because, maybe there's somebody with a telescope or binoculars that are looking in, and it gives you this thing of she's not safe and she, wants to close her curtains and be like, I don't know who's in my room, which I guess is who's in her life that's doing all of this, but she doesn't feel that sense of privacy in her own room anymore, which I think is so creepy.
Yeah, that shot that you talk about is either a zoom out or like a massive dolly out. Super Hitchcockian.
Yeah.
And because you see her in her rear window, get it? And then you have that massive zoom out and you see this whole city and then you watch her at a distance close the curtains.
Yeah.
And it just has this amazing sense of smallness and vulnerability when you think of this person who should be larger than life,
Yeah.
but is already like feeling trapped in this tiny place.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's an essay scene right there for you. Like,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
absolutely it does. But yeah, when you're not feeling safe even in your own room, and the name of the blog is Mima's Room. That's such an invasion of privacy that I don't think anybody would want to have in their life, or I don't know if they'd be able to handle it. Like, and that's a really big thing that pop stars and actresses and actors need to deal with, like that invasion of privacy. There's always somebody up your ass. There's always paparazzi, like trying to figure out what you're doing and taking pictures of what you're doing. And that lack of privacy is something that she's having to learn how to deal with as she ascends to, being a famous actress or previously a pop idol. And she's not handling it well.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching that clip from the Anime Movie Podcast. Follow the links in the description below to hear full episodes, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more fun clips like this.